I want to start with a number that will mean nothing to you right now, but everything to you in about 15 minutes. 100 billion tons. That's how much water moves in and out of the Bay of Fundy in a single half-day tidal cycle. 100 billion tons. Twice the combined flow of every river on the planet. And right now, as you're watching this, that water is sitting in front of a two-bedroom house in Nova Scotia that someone is asking $159,000 for. I found 3 properties this week in 3 different provinces. Same budget, under $160 each. And they are so completely different from one another that I'm not sure they exist in the same country, let alone at the same price point. One of them has a view that belongs in a nature documentary. One of them has a finished basement, a double garage, 5 bedrooms, and a bathroom I cannot describe before I've given you enough context to process it. And one of them is on a street called Princess in a town that gave the world the heart-shaped chocolate box and once shared its gunpowder with the Americans. Here's what I'm measuring today. Not which province has the best Instagram. 3 things that actually matter when you're deciding whether a real estate decision makes sense. First, what do you actually get for the money? The real square footage, the real condition, the real costs you'll be paying every month for the next 20 years. Second, what is the place around this property? Is it growing or emptying out? Is this a location someone chooses or a location someone ends up in? Third, could a real person with a real life actually be okay here? By the end of this video, one of these 3 properties is going to look like the obvious answer. One is going to look like a beautiful mistake. And one is going to require a content warning for the bathroom. Let's go to the coast first. 578 Lower Cove Road, Lower Cove, Nova Scotia. Cumberland County, near the village of Joggins, 30 minutes by car from Amherst. I want you to look at the first photo in this listing before we talk about anything else. That is an aerial drone shot of the Bay of Fundy at low tide, green fields running to the waterline, exposed tidal flats stretching out as far as the camera can see, a quiet road. The tide is out because the tide here goes out further than almost anywhere on Earth. The Bay of Fundy holds the official record for the highest tidal range in the world, up to 16 meters in the Minas Basin, which is the same bay you're looking at. In one tidal cycle, more water moves through this bay than flows from every river on the planet combined, twice. And your front porch faces it. This is not a metaphor. The listing calls the views ever-changing, which is technically accurate. The Bay of Fundy changes shape 4 times a day, every day, because physics and geography and the position of the moon have conspired to make this particular stretch of Nova Scotia coastline unlike anything else in Canada. Now, the house. It's a bungalow, 1,045 square feet. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom on just under 3/4 of an acre. Freehold. No condo fees, no condo corporation, no one sending you notices about your lawn furniture. Heat pump, ductless, plus a wood stove for backup. Appliances included, drilled well, newer septic. The interior is honest about what it is. Laminate and vinyl flooring. A kitchen with dark cabinetry and checkerboard tile that was fashionable when someone installed it and has since become retro in the way that is one renovation away from charming. The bathroom is functional and makes no promises. And the living room has a wood stove, a window, and a view of the Bay of Fundy that no renovation budget in the world can improve. Here's the detail from the listing I keep coming back to. This property has been cared for by the same family for 48 years. Not flipped, not staged. Not bought by someone who painted the front door and raised the asking price by $30,000. One family, 48 years. The listing says cared for. I believe them. Something else is 5 minutes down the road. The Joggins Fossil Cliffs, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Bay of Fundy's tides have been exposing 300-million-year-old fossils from the Coal Age right out of the cliffs here since before anyone had a word for fossils. Charles Darwin referenced this place in his work. The first reptile ever found in the fossil record was discovered here. Your backyard is adjacent to the Galapagos of the Coal Age. That's not a selling point in the listing. It should be. Now, the honest case against this property. 2 bedrooms is a commitment. If you have a partner, a child, and a dog, you've already maxed out the bedrooms. The kitchen needs money. The bathroom needs money. And Cumberland County, Nova Scotia, is not known for its employment ecosystem. Amherst is the nearest full-service town, 34 kilometers away. It has a hospital, grocery stores, and the Trans-Canada. Moncton, the nearest actual city with economic momentum, is 90 kilometers east. Halifax is over 2 hours. If you need to commute somewhere 5 days a week, this house will punish you for it. If you work remotely, or you've decided the view is the actual point of living, this property does not exist in Ontario at any price. It doesn't exist in British Columbia. It barely exists in Nova Scotia. The same family held this for 48 years. That tells you something they never said out loud. Here's the loop I want you to sit with before we look at the next two properties. Nova Scotia is asking, how much of your practical life are you willing to trade for something genuinely irreplaceable? Alberta is asking, how much isolation can you live with in exchange for an absurd amount of house for the money? And New Brunswick, which I'm saving for last, is asking the quietest question of all. What if you didn't have to trade anything important? Let's go north. 411 4th Street, McLennan, Alberta, Peace Country. Before I describe the house, I need to describe McLennan because this property only makes sense if you understand the context first. McLennan is a town in northern Alberta, approximately 4 hours and 17 minutes northwest of Edmonton by car. Population: around 695 people, which means it is not a small city, not even a large town. It is a small town. And it is that specific category of small town where everyone knows your name, your car, your schedule, and the name of your dog before you've finished unpacking. What McLennan has: a hospital, an RCMP detachment, schools, and a nickname. The nickname is the bird capital of Canada. I am not making that up. The nearby Kimiwan Lake draws over 200 species of migratory birds every year. If serious bird watching is the organizing principle of your life, McLennan is your city. It is quite literally the right place for you. What McLennan does not have: a Costco, a commuter option to anywhere, or any reasonable pretense that Edmonton is close. The house, asking price, $144,500. What that buys you: a 1974 bungalow, 1,075 square feet on the main floor, 3 bedrooms above grade, 2 more bedrooms in the finished basement, 3 bathrooms total. Forced air natural gas heating, central air conditioning, double attached garage, separate shed. The basement was recently renovated. New luxury vinyl plank, new drywall, new insulation, walls upgraded to 2x4 framing. Annual property taxes are $3,068. The appliances are included: 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, double garage, finished basement, central air, $144,500. That is the number. I checked it several times. Now here is the listing description's opening line, and I want you to hear the specific energy of it. Spring is coming, and now is the time to get into your new home. Spring is coming in Peace Country, Alberta, where January average highs sit around -10 Celsius and overnight lows drop to -18 on a normal week. Cold snaps pushing lower happen every winter. Spring is coming in approximately 5 months. The listing is optimistic. I appreciate the effort. The interior has a story, and the story has several distinct chapters. Chapter 1. The kitchen. Standard 1970s Alberta. White cabinets, tile counters, appliances that were white when purchased and have since achieved a particular shade of vintage beige. The agent, faced with this kitchen, made a decision. One photo shows it as it actually exists. The next photo, same room, same angle, same beige refrigerator that is clearly not moved, but now there is a round dining table with French-style chairs, a potted plant, fresh flowers, and atmospheric warm lighting that the actual kitchen demonstrably does not produce. This is AI staging. The listing agent used artificial intelligence to imagine a better version of this kitchen and then presented both the real and the fictional version side by side, without comment. I respect the transparency. I respect it slightly less than I respect the confidence. Chapter 2. The main bathroom. The bathtub is blue, a very specific institutional blue that was considered aspirational in 1974 and has since become a time capsule. The toilet did not get the memo. The blue bathroom is not going anywhere without a renovation budget. Chapter 3. The second bathroom. I need you to understand that I am choosing my words carefully here. The second bathroom has wallpaper. The wallpaper depicts a large number of women in various states of undress, rendered in a sepia-toned retro-hippie aesthetic that could most accurately be described as a strong personal statement. Someone walked into a store, looked at this wallpaper, purchased it, brought it home, applied it to the bathroom walls, and left it there long enough for it to appear in official real estate listing photographs reviewed and approved by the seller. The wallpaper is part of the sale. It is listed. It has been photographed. It is going to appear in this video. I have no judgment. I have only questions. Here is the honest case against this property. McLennan is 4+ hours from Edmonton. If you need a specialist doctor, a major airport, or a furniture store that isn't a 2-hour detour, you are making a commitment every single time. Peace Country winters are real, and they are long. -18 overnight is not a number you negotiate with. The employment market in a town of 695 is the employment market in a town of 695. But as a physical home, 5 bedrooms, a garage, a finished basement, central air, and more space than most Toronto families see in their entire lives for $144,500. The wallpaper comes down on day 1. The blue bathroom gets renovated when you're ready. The kitchen gets updated when the budget allows. Everything else is just math. 47 Princess Street, St. Stephen, New Brunswick. Charlotte County on the St. Croix River, which is the international border between Canada and the United States. Let me tell you one thing about St. Stephen before I tell you about the house. In the War of 1812, the British military gave St. Stephen a large supply of gunpowder to protect the town from the Americans across the river in Calais, Maine. The town elders of St. Stephen took that gunpowder and gave it to Calais for their 4th of July celebrations. That story has been living in the DNA of this town for over 200 years. The fire departments of St. Stephen and Calais still respond to each other's calls across the international border. 1 minute over the bridge is another country, and they have been treating each other as neighbors for longer than most Canadian cities have existed. The population of St. Stephen is 8,111 people. It has a hospital. It has elementary schools, secondary schools, a public library. It is the retail and service center for all of Charlotte County. And it is officially, since the year 2000, Canada's chocolate town, home of Gunong Brothers, the oldest candy company in the country, founded in 1873, still family-owned, still operating, still hand-dipping chocolates in the downtown store by people who have done it for decades. 150 years of chocolate in the same town by the same family. That level of institutional continuity is not nothing when you're thinking about whether a town has staying power. The average winter temperature in St. Stephen is -3 to -4 Celsius. The Bay of Fundy moderates the climate significantly on this side of New Brunswick. It snows. You will own a shovel. You will not be dealing with -18. You are 1¼ hours from St. John, 1½ hours from Fredericton, 1¾ hours from Bangor, Maine. 1 minute walk from the United States. Now, the house. Asking price, $150,000. Here is what needs to be said about this house before anything else. The kitchen is a project. It is cabinetry from a previous era, a floor that shows its age clearly, and a space that requires a real renovation budget before it becomes what it should be. I'm telling you this first, on purpose, because I want you to have the full picture before the rest of what I'm about to say lands the way it should. The house is 1,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, red wood and shingle exterior, a proper front porch with a peaked roofline and a covered entry. This is not a bungalow box dropped on a lot. This is a house that was built to be looked at from the street, and it still is. Inside, original hardwood floors on most of the main level. A central staircase with a wood banister, high ceilings. The kind of room proportions that houses from this era were built with before developers started optimizing floor plans for profit per square foot rather than actual human comfort. 1 bedroom still has the original antique furniture inside, a 4-poster bed, a dresser with a mirror, side tables that match. Someone built their entire life in this house and did not take it with them when they left. That detail either reads as charming or unsettling depending on your relationship with history. I read it as charming. 1 bedroom has deep green walls that work completely. 1 has a ceiling fan that does not match anything. This is fine. Everything that matters is structurally sound. The property has been listed for a period of time, which means there is room to negotiate. Charlotte County moves at a different pace than the Moncton market. That pace creates opportunity if you are paying attention. St. Stephen is not Moncton. It does not have Moncton's growth rate or Moncton's momentum, but it has a hospital in town. It has a school system. It has Ganong Brothers as a major employer for over 150 years and still going. It has a border economy that creates a commercial relationship with the United States built into the geography itself. This is not a town that is emptying out. It is a town that has been exactly what it is for a very long time, and the evidence suggests it will continue to be. For $150,000, you get a house with a porch, original hardwood, real proportions, a proper staircase, 3 bedrooms, and a kitchen that costs somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 to fix and will look completely different when you're done. The kitchen is the price you pay for everything else. For most people, that is the easiest trade on this list. 3 properties, 3 provinces, 3 answers to the same question. What does $150,000 actually mean in Canada in 2026? Nova Scotia gives you something irreplaceable. The Bay of Fundy at your window, a UNESCO World Heritage Site down the road. A property held for 48 years by one family who understood exactly what they had. The trade is real. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen and bathroom that need money, and an employment landscape that asks you to either work remotely or accept a long commute. If the view is the point, if you have genuinely decided that what you want from a home is something that cannot exist anywhere else on earth for any amount of money, Lower Cove is the honest answer. The family who lived there for 48 years made that decision and never reversed it. Alberta gives you the most house. 5 bedrooms, a double garage, finished basement, central air, and a town that has a hospital, and the undisputed title of Bird Capital of Canada. The trade is also real. 4 hours from Edmonton, -18 in January, and a bathroom that will require a conversation with every future guest before they use it. If you work remotely and you want space and quiet and a garage and more bedrooms than you know what to do with, $144,500 in McLennan is not a compromise. It is an extraordinary amount of house for an extraordinary low number. The wallpaper comes down, the math stays. But New Brunswick wins. And it is not particularly close. You are not buying a dream. You are not buying isolation. You are not buying 5 bedrooms in a town whose claim to fame is birdwatching, as genuinely charming as that is. You are buying a functioning life in a functioning town with a hospital and a school and a main street and a candy company that has been making chocolates by hand in the same place since 1873 for the price of a used car in most Canadian cities. The people who make good decisions in affordable Canadian real estate are not the ones who find the cheapest listing. They are the ones who find the best combination of house, location, and trade-offs they can actually live with on a Tuesday morning in February. St. Stephen gives you a trade-off on the kitchen. Nova Scotia gives you a trade-off on space, employment, and isolation. Alberta gives you a trade-off on distance, winter, and a bathroom that technically requires a content advisory. For most people, the kitchen is the easiest thing on that list to fix. 3 houses, 1 question, and the honest answer depends entirely on what your life actually looks like. Lower Cove is waiting if the view is the whole point. The Bay of Fundy at low tide at 6 in the morning, the same porch the same family used for 48 years. That is not nothing. That is not for everyone. But for the right person, there is no substitute. McLennan delivers if you need the space and have made your peace with the distance. 5 bedrooms, double garage, finished basement, the wallpaper's negotiable, the birds are not. But if you want a house that looks like a house in a town that has been a town for over 200 years, with a hospital and a school and a chocolate company that has been here since before Confederation, St. Stephen is the answer. The kitchen is a project. Everything else is already there. All 3 listings are in the description. Full addresses, real prices, exactly as I found them. If you want more honest breakdowns of what money actually buys in Canada, you're in the right place. This is Loonie Property Hunter. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. 1 question for the comments. Not which one looks best. which one do you actually buy? Because the gap between those two answers is exactly where most real estate mistakes live. Don't live there.